Well, hello there, good people. It's your boy Johny-J, and welcome to another photo adventure. This time we're headed to some epic sea stacks on the New South Wales south coast. We're rolling up on a new spot here. I reckon it's been about 10 years since I photographed this spot, and I took a look at the old photos that I took last time I was here, and to be honest, they're okay, but they suffered from one problem, and that's the wide angle lens issue that you can have. These rock formations are absolutely massive, okay? And then when you get your wide angle lens out, they become so small in the frame. So I've got a few ideas how we can tackle this problem at this location this time around. And I look forward to sharing those with you. Wow, check out this big old Angophora gum tree. This thing is huge. I think it's an Angophora. It's lost all its bark. It is massive, man. What a tank of a tree. Look at this. It is huge, man. That is a big tree. Oh, so nice seeing these big old trees like this still around. Far out. Check out this sea stack. Incredible. This is called Glasshouse Rocks on the New South Wales south coast, and just an epic rock. What a sea stack. Just amazing. Oh, this location is just beautiful. But you can see the problem. You can see there's some cool foreground out over here and the big rock in the background. But the problem is there's so much distance between them. So we have to counteract that problem with our lens choice or something we can do in post-production. So I'm gonna have a play around here and get the composition. We've got about, I'd say about 2 hours till sunset, but we do have a big headland up behind us here. So I'm thinking we might get this side light. You can see it's nice and side lit right now actually. Beautiful and side lit. The sea stack there is really side lit. It's looking good, but I feel like we might lose the light a little bit sooner than that. We've got cloud out behind us. Got a little bit of cloud out there. Not too much around, but unfortunately not in the direction we want to shoot, that's for sure. Let's play around here and try and get a composition. Alrighty, I'll show you what I'm looking at here. So you can see if we were to use this rock as a leading line, which is absolutely beautiful, nice and sided at the moment, just beautiful. I love the sand texture. But the problem you've got, look how small that sea stack is. And that sea stack is massive. Like those pine trees over there on top of that headland are absolutely huge. And that sea stack is just about taller than them. So that's crazy. So somehow we have to show the scale of the sea stack, but including this foreground. And one thing we can do, if I move back and zoom in, you can see as I zoom in, the sea stack's getting bigger now. So using a longer focal length will really help that and allow us to make that sea stack look bigger in the frame. The other thing we can do is we can take a frame of our foreground like this, okay? And then take a frame of our background, probably like that, to be honest, and then merge them together. And that's called focal blending. And that's something we might try. We'll have a play around. The other thing I've got is my 24-70, so a little bit longer telephoto. This is my 16-35. So that might even be a good compromise to be able to compress the scene and make our background element look bigger. Okay, we're all set up, and I ended up going with my 24-70, and let me show you why. Have a look at this. Look at the difference now with this composition. So check this out. We've got this awesome plates in the leading line coming from the left-hand side, but look how big that stack is now in the frame. You know, we were out here at 24, or we're even wider. We were 16 mil before, and look at the difference. and I can press into almost 70 mil there, and you can see that stack is just way bigger in the scene. It's way more dominant, and that's the key. It just looks massive at the moment. So, and it is huge. It's absolutely massive. Like I said, look at it compared to those pine trees. Those pine trees are absolutely huge, and that stack is just massive. And you can see how much prominent, how big that guy is in the frame there. He's massive now, and that's what I'm after. I really want to show the size of it compared to even that headland there and those pine trees. So I've actually included those in the top right-hand corner as well. You can see there, and left-hand corner, top, we've got this, and then we've got our rocks leading line up through this way like this. So I think that's kind of nice. I like where we're at now. Unfortunately, the clouds aren't looking great. We still got a bit of side light across the scene. I think what I am going to do is add some ND filters, and I'm going to go with, I just want to include that other tree there. See that other tree? I just want to make sure that that edge isn't cut off there. That's actually a good tip. When you think you've got your composition, do a border patrol, run around the outside of the frame, look for anything that could be distracting, anything sticking in, anything that doesn't need to be in the composition. And as you can see before, I had it a bit like this, and that pine tree is a little bit cut off there. So if I zoom out a little bit now, you can see what we've got is that beautiful pine tree in the frame. It's not half in, half out. And when it's like this, it's more of a distracting element because you don't really know what's going on. But when you can see like this, you can see it's much more pleasing. It's got room to breathe, and that's the key to doing your border patrol. No distracting elements. All right, let's keep going here. I am gonna go put some NDs on because I reckon a long exposure is what this shot needs. Check this out. We've got the 10 stop out. We're going really, really long for this one. And I think that'll be nice. With that nice side light, I'm even thinking black and white might be good. Because when you go black and white, you can play with the gradient in the pure blue sky as well. And we've got some nice side light hitting the scene, interesting shadows and highlights along the foreground there. Anyway, let me show you how to use this thing. So first things first with an ND, we want to get our focus right, okay? So I've got about a third into the scene, just focusing on that foreground element there, okay? And I'll just make sure I've got my 2-second timer on there. 2-second timer on, beautiful. I'm just going to take a shot there. F11, ISO 100, says about, you know, a third over. Not too worried about that. All I want to check now is focus, okay? I want to make sure we're front to back focused, and we are. Beautiful, okay. All right, so I'm going to focus in on that point there, and this is the key, going into manual, okay? So we go into manual. Once our focus is right, we go into manual focus here. I'm going to go down to manual, boom, manual focus. If I just twist that ring a little bit, it's just going to go in. Just going to double check my focus there again. Right, I'm going to take another one at that. Good, and then I'm going to hit play. I'm going to zoom in there, and I want to have a look. Yeah, front to back, we're nice and sharp. That's all the way down to the headland there. That's nice and sharp. Right, we're good to put our 10 stop on, okay? So I'm going to pop him on the front there, and we're going to go dark. So let's bump the shutter speed down now. Let's go long. I'm going to go to, let's try 10 seconds. It's saying it's pretty good. So 2-second timer, F11, 10 seconds. Let's see how this looks. So what you need to do now is just play with your shutter speed. Now we've got your aperture set, we've got the ISO set. We're just playing with that shutter speed, trying to get the right shutter speed there for our water motion. Oh, that's cool. All right, so let's have a look here. Let's have a look at the histogram. Looking good, nothing clipping. Everything's nice and sharp there. Looking good. Oh, I'm liking that. Absolutely loving it. Do you know what I might do? I'm just gonna grab a polarizer, I think. All right, I'm gonna pop that polarizer on first, okay? So I'm just gonna drop my shutter speed down here right now. And I just wanna have a look at that polarizer. I just wanna see, I wanna test that polarization. Yeah, that's nice. You can see it just knocking those specular highlights off on the foreground there a little bit. That's what I'm after. So let's pop back out now. So polarizer looks good. Gonna pop the 10 stop back on again. All right, and now we're gonna have to adjust our shutter speed, and we're probably gonna have to go a little bit longer because we've added that ND filter as well. So let's try 13 seconds there. That's not too bad. All right, 2-second timer, and we're away. Now we need some elevator music because I've got to wait 13 seconds to see my photograph. Anyway, insert elevator music. Yay, and there we go, shutter's gone off. Let's play that back. Let's zoom in here. Yeah, nice. Liking that, liking it. Liking it, looks good. By the way, I never normally say this in the middle of the videos, but I think I might start doing it now. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up, show me some love, drop a comment below, let me know if you're enjoying them, if you got any feedback, tips, anything you want to add, questions, more than happy to answer questions. And the other thing is, if you want to be notified when these videos land, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and I'd really appreciate it if you help me out. Awesome. All right, back to the photograph. All right, little shameless plug there. All right, back to the photograph. Let's have a look there. That's looking cool. I'm liking that. Yeah, looking good, looking good. I'm liking where we're at now. I actually don't mind a bit of that shade that you can see in the foreground there. I actually like that. I think that's adding some interest. You can see there's the final photograph. There's a bit of light in that foreground. We're about to lose that, okay? I would like a little bit softer light hitting the background, and we're probably gonna get that pretty soon, I reckon. But at the moment, I think that's looking pretty good. I'm really happy where we're at with that. Looking good. One thing you have to be really careful of, now we've set our focus, be careful when you're playing with your camera not to touch that focus ring, because if you happen to bump it, everything is going to be out of focus again. So I always reckon take a frame, zoom in, just make sure it's still sharp, okay? So I'm going to zoom in, I'm going to have a look around. Let's just make sure things are still sharp. Yeah, foreground looks good, background is sharp, good. We haven't bumped our focus ring when we've been fluffing around with our camera. Super important, that, super important. But I can see one thing that is out, there's the horizon slightly out. So let's fix that, eh? Let's go fix the horizon. Of course, we can always fix it in post. But hey, I always say, if you can do it while you're in the field, you're better off getting it done in the field. All right, let's do it here, another little shot here. Let's have a look here, check the histogram. All right, so we can start to go a little bit longer now. You can see here on the histogram, it's pushing up to the left. So that means we can up our shutter speed. We can go a little bit longer. That's looking pretty good. I'm really happy with that, Zach. There's lots of interest for your eye to bounce around on the way through the scene. I reckon we go up to about 20 seconds now. Let's fire another one of that and see how that turns out. 20 seconds, that really is getting a long time. Insert elevator music. Come on. Geez, 20 seconds is a long time when you're dancing like an idiot. There it is, good. Thank God for that. I didn't want to torture you guys any longer with that terrible dancing. All right, let's have a look here. 20 seconds, hell yeah. Look at that. Loving it. Look at that side light on the rock back there, on the headlands, getting some light back there. We've still got our bit of interest in the foreground there with that light and shadow. Loving it, I'm loving it. And remember, things that help a viewer's eye go through the scene is color. It's light and dark areas, it's texture, okay? Contrast, so that's what we've got. We've got beautiful contrast in the foreground moving through our scene. So we've definitely got that going on. And you can see, oh, it's just looking so cool. The other thing I really like about the composition too, it's sort of split in the foreground, so texture. You know, we've got this rough texture of the rock, then smooth, and then all the way out to our beautiful sea stack back there, which is looking absolutely gorgeous. Okay, just a bit of an update. I reckon we just wait for that light to drop a little bit more. You can see it's running through the valley here behind me, hitting our rock, which is really, really nice. The sun direction is actually really, really great today, because it means we're going to get shadow in the foreground, a bit of dapple light, but the light, when it drops, is going to be nice and low and soft, hitting on our background elements, really highlighting them, getting that beautiful side light. All right, so obviously we're back in the studio now. I got so carried away with my long exposure, I forgot to do my little outro, my transition over to here. So anyway, we're back here in Lightroom. Let me show you my final product and I'll talk you through it. So here you can see, this is the one I ended up going with, and the reason why I like this one is because it's still got a little bit of light in the foreground. This is one of the ones we took right at the end of the video actually, and not long after that we lost all that light. The sun just dipped down, we're getting it through the valley across the background here, but we weren't getting it in the foreground here. And remember I said the things that really help your viewer's eye to move through the scene, is one of the things is contrast, so light and dark areas. So that's why I really like this, and I like this light hitting the side of this epic looking rock here. So anyway, way. We did some other Lightroom adjustments here. You can see one of the main things I did, obviously we did the black and white conversion in Lightroom, which I don't mind Lightroom for that. I think it does a pretty good job. But you can see here we've added some darkness down to the top of the sky. As I mentioned in the field, I think I'd probably do that because there's no clouds or texture up there. That just holds you in the top of the frame. One thing I like to do. The other thing I did in Lightroom, which is interesting as well, is here in the color grading panel. You can see if I turn that off and on, so that's full monochrome, and that's with my color grading. And you can see I've added a little bit of blue and yellow tones, which I really like in my black and whites. I like that sort of split tone effect. What's really cool here is this balance is really cool, so you can add your tones and then just move it left and right and balance what you like. So I've pushed it a little bit more towards the bluer side, and you can see here the shadows are in the blues and the highlights here are in the yellows. All right, so I really like that. So from here we had a couple of things to do in Photoshop. So some dingus, I don't know who it was, walked in the foreground and put footsteps all the way down here. I don't know who that was. It was me. So always be careful where you're walking around your subject, because you just never know. Look, honestly, it took about 5 minutes in Photoshop. We cleaned up all those little bits and areas there. It wasn't a big deal, but yeah. So just something mentally to keep note of when you're in an area, snow, sand, anything like that, mud, yeah, just be careful. All right, so the next thing we did was a bit of dodging and burning. I love luminosity masks, dodging and burning. Absolutely love it, using it as a stencil. It really helps define your lightening and darkening of your frame. And you can see if I turn that on and off, the main things I did was add more light over here, and you can see through this area where it was quite flat, you can see I've added some darkening and lightening through that area. Again, adding that contrast, something for your eye to move through the scene. Really cool. The other thing I mentioned when we're in the field is texture. Okay, you can see smooth texture through here. So I opened a layer up in Camera Raw from in Photoshop, added that clarity, added that texture and a bit of dehaze, and then I've painted that back through on a mask just in on the rocks here. It's really subtle, but what it does, and you might be able to see it slightly there, what it does is really bring out some of the textures and some of those fine textures as well in that rock, and I really like that about this frame. Last but not least, custom vignette. I love doing these things. So you draw a freehand vignette, and the panel I've got creates a little vignette there. It just adds more dimension to the frame, and I think that's really nice. So here is our final photograph. I really like what we ended up. I'm so glad we went with that long exposure. It really suits this scene, and we had no clouds out there whatsoever, and we still come away with an awesome image of this great location. Really happy, how big our rock is in the frame as well. Using that longer focal length really paid off. So yeah, nice end result. Alright, good people, that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed another photo adventure. And hey, please, if you're loving these videos, do all the stuff below. Show me some love, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!